In the heart of Serpent's Gulch, a forsaken town writhing beneath the pall of an aberrant curse, the accursed silver mine loomed as a gaping maw of despair. Its belly had once birthed prosperity, but now bore only dread and sorrow. Amidst this desolation, a mysterious cowboy drifter emerged from the wind-blown sands, a figure seemingly carved from the unfathomable depths of the cosmos. The townsfolk whispered of him in hushed tones, calling him the Lone Stranger. He bore the weight of cosmic solitude like a cloak. As the Lone Stranger made his way through the ghostly streets of Serpent's Gulch, his hairless pate gleamed under the pitiless sun. His abyssal eyes, devoid of pupils, seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. "Need supplies," the Lone Stranger muttered as he approached the neglected storefront, the creaking of the saloon doors and the distant howl of the wind, forming the mournful chorus of this forsaken town. The storekeeper, a weathered old-timer, eyed him with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. "Stranger in these parts, huh?" "You might say that," the Lone Stranger replied, his expression hidden by the wide brim of his cowboy hat, his words revealing nothing of his true origins. The old-timer leaned in, his eyes darting cautiously. "You best keep an eye open, for there's something mighty unnatural about this town." The Lone Stranger set his required supplies on the counter. "Unnatural, you say?" The old-timer's voice trembled as he spoke of the horrors lurking in the mine. "Miners, they ain't right no more. Changed, twisted into serpentine creatures by some foul curse, they say." The man slid a wanted poster across the counter, the words in bold type leaping out. "Wanted, the Reptilian Raider. Wanted for ambushing silver shipments and poisoning rivals with venomous traps." The old-timer continued, "They say the desperado, Silas Snakebite Salt, is behind it. Out for blood, settling scores. Sure, he likes them snakeskin ties and vest, but he's no snake man. Nervous fools be riling folks up." The Lone Stranger extended his three-fingered hand toward the wanted poster, allowing his otherworldly senses to absorb the unseen cosmic wavelengths, deciphering probabilities. The illustration of Silas Salt's sinister countenance revealed a man hell-bent on vengeance, and that the desperate desperado was no longer just a man. The Lone Stranger placed a stack of new items on the counter. "I almost forgot these." "Box of anti-venom," the old-timer muttered, the perspiration on his temple forming small rivulets as he tallied up the bill, understanding that some secrets were best kept unknown. The Lone Stranger rolled up the wanted poster and tucked it away, ready to face the aberrations lurking in the mine and banish the curse that plagued this desolate town. The Lone Stranger cautiously ventured deeper into the oppressive depths of the cursed mine. The narrow tunnels seemed to constrict around him, and the whispered laments of the damned resonated in his ears. His lantern light revealed an unsettling sight: vipers, venomous snakes coiled in the dimly lit passages, their beady eyes fixated on him with predatory intent. As he attempted to evade one of the viper's sudden strikes, the Lone Stranger stumbled upon an even more disquieting discovery. Amidst the littered scales and slithering serpents lay an uncanny shedded skin. But this was no ordinary snake's skin. It took the form of a human arm, with fingers contorted in an eerie, unnatural configuration. The Lone Stranger's cosmic instinct heightened his unease as he realized that this shedded skin hinted at the horrifying truth. The rumors were not mere tales. The miners had indeed undergone a ghastly transformation into serpent-like beings, and the curse was far more chilling and inexplicable than he had ever imagined. Deep within the labyrinthine mine, the Lone Stranger's lantern cast flickering shadows on the rugged walls, revealing the eerie, snake-like twists and turns of the tunnels. His cosmic instinct guided him through the winding passages until the dim light revealed a solitary figure, A serpent man, a grotesque fusion of snake and human, crouching in a secluded alcove. The lone stranger stepped forward, the lantern light dancing upon the serpent man's bizarre features. The creature was different from the others. It exhibited a glimmer of rationality amidst the chaos of its cursed existence. Fear radiated from its eyes, a fear of losing itself, like the unfortunate miners who had been transformed into abominations. The lone stranger extended a hand, a gesture of both empathy and inquiry. "Can you still remember who you once were?" The serpent man's hissing voice trembled, mirroring the torment within. I fear the darkness that claimed my fellow minuses, that turned them into monsters. Please, you must understand. I didn't ask for this." The lone stranger nodded in understanding, recognizing the profound horror of their situation. "Tell me then, where is Silas Salt's hideout? I aim to end this curse and free you all." With a flicker of resignation, the serpent man directed him toward the hidden chamber, its voice filled with the haunting knowledge of a fate it wished to escape. "I'm sorry." He struggled to restrain an impulsive force within. The lone stranger, puzzled but sympathetic, urged, "Go quickly and be free." But before the serpent man could comply, an alarming shout erupted from his twisted throat. "Intruder!" The ominous cry echoed through the mine, alerting the other serpent men to the presence of the lone stranger. Deeper into the twisting tunnels of the mine, the lone stranger pressed on, following the trail toward the hidden hideout, keeping one step ahead of the serpent men hot on his heels. The dim lantern light cast feeble illumination on the perilous path ahead as he delved further into the heart of the cursed mine. As he raced through the winding tunnels, the grotesque forms of his pursuers drew nearer, the hiss of vengeful intent echoing through the stale air. In a heartbeat, the lone stranger's cosmic senses identified a subtly concealed trigger on the tunnel wall, the cosmic wavelengths indicating an all-too-familiar signature of Silas, the reptilian raider. The lone stranger came to a halt at the trap, facing the pursuing serpent men. There were 3 of them. His cosmic senses granted a slight advantage, yet it was hard to focus on the probability vibrations in reality amid the overwhelming tension. He harmonized his actions with one of the probability wavelengths. He knew he had to engage in a melee with at least one of the serpent men, while positioning the others within range of the waiting darts. Poisonous darts. A fierce brawl erupted between the lone stranger and one of the snake men. The 2 combatants were locked in a relentless struggle. They grappled, fists flying, as the tunnel walls seemed to close in around them. Every punch landed with a resounding thud, echoing in the confined space. The serpent man hissed and struck back with murderous intent. The lone stranger parried. Dust and sweat filled the air, their forms twisting and contorting in the dim light, as the trap's deadly payload poised for release, an impending threat amidst the chaos. The lone stranger focused on aligning the probability wavelengths. Almost there. Almost there. With nimble precision, he finally managed to dive for cover just in time. The serpent man, thrown off balance by his own momentum, triggered the trap. Poisonous darts whizzed past the lone stranger, narrowly missing their mark. He watched in grim satisfaction as the darts struck the pursuers, causing them to stiffen and topple over. Paralysis, not death. There remained a glimmer of hope, a slim chance to save them from their grotesque fate. However, this escape was a double-edged sword. Inadvertently, the lone stranger had triggered a second trap. Venomous vapors filled the air, assaulting his senses and leaving him in a disoriented state as he stumbled through the final mine shaft. His entrance into the hideout was less triumphant than he had hoped. Silas, the reptilian raider, lay in wait, eager to prolong his cruel game with his trapped prey. Silas Salt, the reptilian raider, prowled the shadowy recesses of the hideout, a grotesque amalgamation of man and serpent. His body was a nightmarish fusion, covered in sickly green scales. A bald head accentuated the pronounced snake-like features on his face, marked by flat lips and a menacing forked tongue. Ears were notably absent, emphasizing his inhuman nature. He went bare-chested, but sported a sinister ensemble, donning a black snake-skinned vest and a matching snakeskin necktie. Black leather pants adorned his lower half, left bereft of any shoes. His fingers and toes extended into razor-sharp claws, glistening with the anticipation of the sadistic game he was about to indulge in. In a sinister flourish, he uncoiled the menacing snake-themed whip, Snakebite from his side, ready to unleash its venomous strike. Silas hissed, his forked tongue flickering. "Seems like you're not at your best, cosmic wanderer. Perhaps my little surprise has left you a bit unsteady." As the venom-clouded lone stranger struggled to regain his composure, Silas seized the advantage. He swung Snakebite with a swift, serpent-like motion, the venom-coated whip wrapping around the lone stranger's legs, yanking them from under him. With a forceful tug, he sent the lone stranger crashing to the floor. The lone stranger forced himself back up, despite the overwhelming disorientation. The venom still coursed through his veins, making his every action a grueling struggle against his own weakened body. Silas, on the other hand, reveled in his advantage, taunting his opponent with wicked laughter. In the midst of their furious skirmish, the lone stranger's three-fingered hand fumbled within his satchel, searching for the box of antivenom he had acquired earlier. He knocked a few antivenom capsules to the ground. Despite Silas's relentless attacks, he managed to secure one of the capsules. Swiftly, he popped it into his mouth, even as he skillfully dodged another of Silas's venomous whip strikes. The antivenom surged through his system, and his alien physiology accelerated its battle against the debilitating venom. With wavering, yet newfound clarity, the lone stranger stood ready to turn the tide of their brutal encounter. He just needed time. Silas taunted, "Serpent Gulch had this coming. They tried to hunt me down. Just like you're trying to hunt me down. You see, this mine, it's my domain now. I'm the predator. And you're just prey that stumbled into my pit." The lone stranger, though disoriented and disadvantaged, remained resolute. He clenched his teeth and replied, "You were transformed into a monster, but you're still a man beneath it all. You can find redemption. It's my responsibility. I can assist." Silas's malevolent grin widened as he answered the lone stranger's plea, his forked tongue flicking in the eerie light of the mine. "Redemption? You don't understand. This transformation, it's a gift, not a curse. I've seen things, plants and animals mutating because of an alien fluid tainting the lands. I know who you are, lone stranger. I know what you are. You delivered a boon to the frontier. And now I have the power to make this whole world pay." The lone stranger, standing tall once more, retorted with unwavering determination in his voice. "But it's not too late to change your path, to fight the mutation. I can help." Silas's laughter resonated throughout the mine, echoing off the walls, and the remnants of his humanity seemed to flicker in his eyes for a brief moment. "Help me? You really think I want your help? No, I'm beyond redemption, and I'm going to ensure everyone knows it. Starting with you." With those words, Silas lunged forward, his venomous whip Snakebite slashing through the air, aimed to strike the lone stranger. As the lone stranger and Silas engaged in their brutal battle, the dim lantern light of the mine cast eerie, sinister shadows around them. Among the chaos, the Serpent Man miner, the same one who had been tormented by the mutation earlier, stumbled into the hideout den. His yellow, serpentine eyes darted wildly around the scene, his mind locked in a constant battle between the remnants of his humanity and the monstrous instincts that gripped him. Amidst the ferocity of the struggle, the Serpent Man's keen eyes landed on an anti-venom capsule that lay on the floor. With a touch of rationality amidst the chaos, he reached for it and consumed the pill with eager desperation. The lone stranger, though disoriented and weakened, couldn't help but notice the subtle change in the Serpent Man. His cosmic senses picked up on wavelengths that hinted at internal reactions triggered by the antivenom, like flickering strings in the cosmic tapestry. Calculations played through the lone stranger's senses like musical strings, inconsistent and uncertain. But he saw an opportunity amid the chaos. As he grappled with Silas, his three-fingered hand reached into his satchel once more and grabbed a handful of antivenom pills. In the heat of the fight, within inches of Silas's snapping bite, he shoved his fist into the Serpent Man's maw, releasing all the pills he held into Silas's throat. The results were swift and profound. Silas convulsed uncontrollably, his serpentine features contorting in agonizing torment, and anguished cries reverberated through the mine. The power of the antivenom clashed fiercely with the mutation that had turned Silas into a monster, unleashing intense internal struggles. Silas writhed and spasmed, his grip on Snakebite weakening, his strength slipping away. As the lone stranger seized this vital opportunity, he managed to disengage from the grueling battle and staggered back, the venom's lingering effects still sapping his strength. His focus shifted to the Serpent Man, who had once been tormented by the vile mutation. The antivenom worked its magic, reversing the curse that had transformed him into a monster. Scales fell away, revealing the man he had once been, his humanity slowly reasserting itself. The lone stranger couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope as he witnessed this miraculous transformation. The man crumpled to the floor, tears of relief streaming down his face as he gazed up at the lone stranger. His voice trembled with gratitude. "Thank you. Thank you. I'm not a monster anymore. Thank you." The man crumpled to the floor, tears of relief streaming down his face as he gazed up at the lone stranger. His voice trembled with gratitude. "Thank you. Thank you. I'm not a monster anymore. Thank you." Turning his gaze back to the fallen Silas Salt, who lay in a twisted heap on the ground, the lone stranger tried once more to use his cosmic senses. But to his dismay, all he saw were tangled strings of chaos vibrating through his alien mind in excruciating and indecipherable wavelengths. He realized that something was fundamentally different about Silas, something beyond his understanding. Nonetheless, the lone stranger recognized that this moment was a critical turning point, a chance at redemption for those who had been ensnared by the curse. With unwavering determination, he approached the fallen Silas Salt, the Reptilian raider, and began the task of securely binding him, bringing an end to his reign of terror. In the end, the lone stranger's cosmic instinct and unwavering determination prevailed, as the forces of corruption were vanquished. The curse that had smothered Serpent's Gulch like a suffocating shroud was lifted, its vileness scattered like the wind-blown sands of the desert. The lone stranger, accompanied by several of the liberated miners, made his triumphant return to Serpent's Gulch. Their transformation had been reversed, and they were no longer the cursed serpent men that had haunted the town. As they approached the town square, a crowd of townsfolk gathered to witness the miraculous change, and joyous cries of reunion and relief filled the air. Amidst the crowd, the sheriff stepped forward, his stern expression softened by a glimmer of gratitude. He held out an iron collar and a set of mandible chains, which had been crafted to confine Silas Salt. the Reptilian raider. The sheriff nodded to the lone stranger and said, "You've done a remarkable thing here, stranger. Here's your bounty reward." "Give me half," the lone stranger insisted, extending a hand toward the miners. "Spend the other half to help these folks get back on their feet." Silas, his monstrous form still present, remained defiant but weakened, a stark contrast to his former villainous self. The lone stranger, his duty fulfilled, handed over the captured Silas to the sheriff. The sheriff grinned at the once-feared outlaw. "We finally got you, Reptilian raider. I'm looking forward to your date with the gallows, you mouthy bastard. What do you have to say about that, With practiced efficiency, the sheriff secured the iron collar around Silas's neck and attached the mandible chains. Silas Salt remained silent. "Seems like you've gone mute," the sheriff remarked with a shrug. The Reptilian raider, once a fearsome menace to the town, now found himself led away in captivity, his reign of terror brought to a close. Serpent's Gulch, once a place of desolation and despair, now found itself on the slow but steady journey toward recovery. The curse had been banished by a mysterious drifter, and the town's heart began to beat with renewed life as the silver mines restarted operations. As the lone stranger rode out of Serpent's Gulch, he knew that his quest for belonging in the untamed frontier was far from over. The townsfolk whispered tales of the enigmatic wanderer who had saved them from the wrath of the Reptilian raider, and though he disappeared into the horizon, his journey continued, a solitary figure bound by a cosmic sense of responsibility to right the wrongs, caused by his unfortunate crash to this planet as he continued to roam the uncharted, untamed western frontier.